Hello and welcome back to my modded F125 career mode. Today obviously is round 3 of the championship. If you haven't seen the previous one in Japan, I'd recommend you check it out. It's definitely a very interesting one. Not as good as maybe as the debut. I recommend you check that out as well because that was really good. But yeah, it's been an up and down road so far, obviously in the first 2 races from Australia and Japan. So definitely want to try and improve on that if I can today here in Bahrain. Try and improve our standings and performance with the team. Obviously we're going to run our regular practice sessions you'll see in the background. I'm going to try and focus too much on them with the video because obviously we know what they do. We try and get resource points for the car and try and improve our car. I think you don't see that as much as now because obviously I think we've got our basis of kind of like how efficient and how important these tests are, but they don't really bring too much, as in too much information, apart from maybe when I'm doing this qualifying run that kind of shows where the car is about performance wise and a few things. And you can see that definitely through the corners it's really stable, it's really good. When it comes down to the straight line speed, it seems to struggle quite a bit. It seems to be a lot less on power, and I think we need to work on our powertrain more because obviously that's where we lack quite a bit in our car. Definitely is our engine. Despite having the same as the Mercedes, I don't think we're getting the most of it as we think we should. We see we're now going for our second qualifying lap. We're getting a good slipstream from George Russell, who's using, again, as reference, a Mercedes engine. So trying to get more speed on the straights from the help of George Russell, trying to improve our time as much as we can. But you see that, again, when we go on the straights, we see on our top right, our time slowly just starts to dip and it starts to just lose that kind of top speed or the edge that we need to have compared to other cars. So that's where we're losing a lot. And you see on our second run, we're losing quite about, I think about 3 or 4 tenths a lap just on this engine on the straight. So this could be a massive disadvantage for us for this weekend and definitely for maybe the future races. And we'll keep that in mind as well. If the car starts becoming a lot worse, I might think about leaving for another team, because if the car starts to underperform and not get the most as I want of it, I'm not going to perform as well as I want. So it's definitely things to keep in mind. But we'll leave that for another time. We'll leave that on a different day because we need to focus now on our qualifying, which I'm going for now in this car. We made a few changes. You've seen obviously a bit more downforce, trying to get the most through the corners, because I think that's where we can get the edge on everyone else. You see through sector 1, got a purple sector already. I know not everyone's done a lap yet, so obviously this is just in hindsight just for now, but we see obviously it's a good run compared to everyone else. You see through sector 2 we've got a green, so that's definitely good. If we come across the line now for our first run, it's going to be across the line, it's going to be P4, which is good, but also that's not everyone's set a lap time, especially when we come back into the garage, it's PA. So definitely those changes we've made with the extra downforce on the front, I think definitely help us a lot, because obviously I feel that I can get the more out of the car through the corners than the straight. Obviously with lacking on the powertrain compared to everyone else, I think the corners is definitely our friend at the moment. Okay, so you're now heading out for our second qualifying lap, the last lap that we're going to set in this qualifying session, coming out but obviously behind our teammate, and obviously we've got a little bit of someone behind us in a certain of a Max Verstappen trying to get past us. Obviously we want to try and keep the track position ahead of us because we've got a load of track ahead of us. We want to try and keep that clean air, but then I thought, actually let me get behind him because obviously he's one of the quickest around this track, and if I can use the slipstream to my effect, because obviously that Ford engine is a lot more powerful compared to my Mercedes engine, I could use that to my advantage with the slipstream they can cut through on the straights. I can get a bit more of top speed through the end of the straights, then help me just far enough away from the dirty air, from the aero wash, to help me throughout this whole lap as I come through obviously onto just on the end of sector 1. This is where you need to be the most careful as well, because this is where you can obviously lose the rear as it kind of drops down a bit, and that'll help us. But again, we're on a bit of a good run so far behind Max Verstappen. Again, he's really pulling us along, help obviously with that slipstream down the straights, and obviously again just far enough, like perfectly just far enough away from no dirty air, so I'm not being affected barely, but obviously coming through onto the final part of the lap. We have a bit of a moment on the exit as we're about to come across the line, and we're about to get on the run and see where we're going to finish. Come across the line now, and it's going to be P8. And despite, as in, it was a 4 or 5 tenths improvement, I think P8 is still very good. Obviously, compared to the car being not as where we want it just yet, I think that's still a good position for qualifying. And then you see that Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari gets some pole. Actually, a front row lockout for the Ferrari team. As you see that Lando Norris all the way down in 10th place. He's actually one of the title favourites, obviously, in this first season. And he's down all the way in 10th position, which is a bit of a head scratch, obviously, for McLaren, because they have the strongest car on the grid by far. And then you see that also Pierre Gasly surprising everyone with an amazing performance in qualifying with the P6. Which honestly in that Alpine, again in this kind of same position that we are in a not so powerful car, it's definitely a good thing to see. You see the strategy, I've gone with my own strategy. I've gone for a different form the team offered me. I'm going with a medium start with going for a 1 lap undercut from everyone onto the soft tire, try and get that on the out lap to push as much as I can and try and gain as much time as I can, and try and use all that grip from the soft tire and try and gain as much time on between the pit stop phase. As you see that we're on our formation lap, obviously before the grid. You see that both Ferraris are also on the soft strategy on the medium start strategy. So hopefully, maybe they're on the same strategy as us, having a good strategy, which again, in obviously Ferrari terms, is like literally impossible nowadays. We see we're obviously coming up to our rib box, so we're just trying to build some temperature into our tyre, and obviously we overdo it, almost hitting the back of Pierre Gasly into his gearbox. And thankfully, obviously, there's no damage. Also, we park the car just in the perfect position. But as we now go to 5 red lights at the Bahrain Grand Prix, starting from P8 for Williams, as we go yet again for round 3 at Bahrain, as we get a decent start, a little bit too much wheel spin on the start. We're trying to get behind Pierre Gasly. He goes for a defensive move. As we pull to the left hand side, we try and make a move on him as he absolutely sends it down the inside on an awkward line. He goes into Verstappen. We try and make a move on Piastri all the way around the outside. We see that Verstappen keeps the move on Gasly ahead as we have a bit of a switch him over into the side of Piastri's side pod. So thankfully, again, no damage on our end or Piastri. We see that Verstappen obviously killed a move ahead of a wild Gasly into turn 1, which I'm not sure what he was doing. You see that Tsunoda trying to make a move past on Alonso, which he does nicely as both of the Ferraris actually pull away from Russell and the group of us that were in behind Verstappen already. You see back to the replay of the start, you see that Pierre Gasly from a way long back making a very late set. Obviously he was defending from me, but he must have got that wrong, so he hit Verstappen into turn 1. So hopefully again no damage on either end of their side. We're now onto the end of lap. We see that Gasly is now having to defend again from Piastri as now coming onto the main straight. You see that both the Ferraris have gone away. Verstappen and Russell have just cleared off from the front, obviously with a bit of squabbling between Piastri and Gasly going to the final corner. It costs us a lot of time. You see that Piastri going all the way around the outside of Gasly if he can, trying to make it safe, but obviously the power of that Renault power unit is doing very well compared to the Mercedes, the back of that McLaren. We see them now Piastri's going to go all the way around the outside into the inside, into that first sector, which he makes a move very nicely. Now he's going to have to defend against Gasly. He has the ERS and the run on him with a bit of slipstream. We make a move all the way, pause to the left hand side, go all the way round the outside of both of the cars, which makes an amazing move both on Piastri and Gasly, which is an amazing move from us, which I was not fully expecting, but we made it work. We see now coming back to the front, obviously onto lap 3, Verstappen, Russell and Sainz in a bit of a battle themselves. Verstappen gets past Sainz now, obviously into P3 behind Russell, trying and catch Leclerc. We see go back on board to that move from us with Pierre Gasly as we sweep all the way around side of both the cars, and now back on board with Piastri as he goes a little side into Gasly, makes it a bit awkward for both of them, so I can just sweep all the way around, make it easy. Seeing that Tsunoda trying to make a move on Piastri as well, where he's going side by side through the middle sector, and Piastri sticks it out and then keeps ahead of position. Definitely a bit of an awkward positioning from Piastri. We're now back on board with us. We're going to the end of lap 3, going on to lap 4. You see the absolute gap from Sainz and Verstappen ahead of us have just gone away from us. All them squabbling between us back then have held us back. You see now Verstappen making a move on Russell, using all that power from the Ford engine past him with the help of DRS, get past him very easily. I see behind us we've got Piastri and Gasly fighting at it once again, side by side now. Piastri on the inside, obviously using as much traction as he can from those soft tyres, trying to help out as much as he can, and now he gets ahead of him all the way around the outside as Gasly on the hards, definitely not as much grip compared to the soft. But halfway through the lap, he used those soft tyres, which absolutely advantages the grip he can get from those tyres. He's caught always at the back of our gearbox. You see the gap at the front is definitely a little more spread out now that Verstappen made the move on Russell. You see it's now from Leclerc, Verstappen, Russell, and now Carlos Sainz lingering behind the Mercedes, so maybe he might make a pounce on Russell and maybe try and help Leclerc. Coming on to the end of lap 5, we have a bit of a tank slapper, try and push away from Piastri, obviously on the mediums compared to the softs. We can't get as much mechanical grip from the tyres as much as we want. You see now our pit stop window is now open, so on this end of this lap we're going to pit onto those soft tyres that Piastri is on as he tries to make a move on us, trying to go all the way around the outside, but we cover our lines, obviously not let him pass because we do not want him past him. But obviously with the power of that Mercedes engine, the back of that McLaren, he's trying to use all their resources and development they put into their powertrain to try and help them get past that. He pulls all the way down to the left hand side, trying to go all the way around our outside. He pulls on a tight line, we go on the curb with a bit of a moment which is going to help us slide, which helps Piastri out tremendously, and he gets past us, and that mistake could maybe cost us in the long run. Obviously trying to fight for a top 5 in this race. You see that Tsunoda is obviously overtaking even Mercedes Van State all the way back in P10, and now we're on the back of Piastri on the end of the lap 6. But obviously now we're going to try and overtake. We're going to go for that undercut that we talked about earlier before the race, and now hopefully this pit stop could help us massively with those soft tyres on our car, maybe through the corner. Obviously with our setup, with the more downforce, we get a lot more grip through the corners. Hopefully that's going to help us tremendously compared to everyone else and try and get the grip, as actually we're the only ones that pit during this stage. So we're doing the strategy that no one else is actually doing. So even Ferrari on the medium strategy like us, they're not pitting just yet, so they're going to pit on the next lap compared to us. We on our outlap is going to push as much as we can. As you see, we are giving everything we can through this car with these tyres. We're not going to give an inch on this racetrack. Try and use all the tarmac as much as we can. As we're coming through obviously onto the third sector, we actually have a purple sector 2, which is actually incredible. So this is mean our pace is really good on these soft tyres. As a teammate pits and there's a safety car. This is something that we did not predict. A safety car just as we pitted. That's going to benefit people who have just pitted just like now, as Alonso, Norris, my teammate. This is something I didn't have in mind, and now this has really put a hindrance to our strategy that we had now, as now that's really going to affect our runs. Hopefully if we try and get past Norris and everyone in the pit stop phase still, which we do just just because obviously we have the right of way from before the pit lane. Now we look back to see what caused the safety car coming out. As you see, we're watching Esteban Ocon as he's coming into obviously the final corner, and he has a spin, and then he just weirdly just sits there on the racing line, causing everyone to basically wait behind him, and then that's what caused the safety car to come out, which I find a little weird. As you listen to the onboard, he just lights it up, spins it, then waits on the racing line, and then a safety car comes out, which I'm not sure, that's like one of the weirdest AI crashes, if you call it quote-on crashes, because it's a weird one. I've never seen AI really do that like that before, really just light up the race, just send it, just no traction at all, and just spin himself around to cause a safety car. That's really something I haven't had before, so that's something really new to me. As you see, I'm now catching to the end of the safety car queue, behind obviously the Aston Martin safety car, right behind George Russell and everyone, so that means everyone's going to bunch up really nicely. And I don't think you actually noticed, on the last lap coming past the pits, we actually got ahead of Oscar Piastri, which is definitely a great thing for us again. It's definitely the pit stop we had. We didn't lose too much on as much as I thought, but you see the safety car's now coming in this lap. As we see now, we're raring to get right behind George Russell to try and get past him as much as we can, because obviously we've got the hell with the soft tyre, and Leclerc actually blasts it from the start of the restart. We're trying to get past George Russell as much quick as we can, perfectly timing as much as we can as we try and get the run past him, secure the position, which we do nicely. And now there's a potential podium up for grabs behind Verstappen, because he is on the hard tyres. He's gonna have less grip than what we have, so we have a potential real podium on the line here. As you see that Gasly and Piastri yet again fighting out once again. These two are having a battle this whole entire race behind us, and they're still going it until probably to the very end of the race. And now see, we're trying to set up a move behind Verstappen as the Ferraris on soft tyres like we are pull away from Verstappen, so it shows definitely Verstappen on those hard tyres is struggling a lot now, obviously for grip. But now coming through the middle part of the lap, this is where the most technical place of the circuit is. This is where we can use our tyre C advantage against Verstappen. As we try and plant the plough, get the traction on him, get the run on him, use the ERS to our advantage, try and get the slipstream obviously with that forward edging, pull to the side, go all the way around the outside of Max Verstappen, and now we are an official P3, legit P3 on the road, potential fighting for a podium, but it's not over and done yet, because obviously we still got 3 laps left. We still got to fend from Russell, Verstappen and Piastri behind us. As you see, Leclerc sets the fastest lap of the race. Him and Sainz have gone away from the pack. As you see that Russell, Verstappen go side by side down the main straight. Who's going to get position? Who's going to be the latest on the brakes? You see that Verstappen goes all the way around the outside potentially as he can. We see that Russell goes all the way into the inside, round the outside of Verstappen. Obviously he's got the tyre advantage of those mediums, and now he's looking to self-move on us. So he goes, sends it down the inside of us now. He's looking to try and take P3 away from us, as we are not going to give up so easily, as he takes 2 positions on 1 lap. And he's now trying to get the run back on George Russell down the main straight. You try and use the DRS and ERS to have advantage, but actually we don't have the DRS. Russell has the DRS, so we have to try and set it lay on the brakes as much as we can against Russell. Try not to let him give him any space of room as we go to the inside and leave him absolutely no room. Leave him hang out to dry as Verstappen try and takes the position from him now. You see behind us, glimpse behind us, as Verstappen trying to get the run on him now, as we've left him a bit of a gap towards his back, as Verstappen now gets ahead of Russell. Now back at the front of both the Ferraris are streaking away from those first few laps. You see them now behind us. We are now on a run. I see now there's been a crash behind us. Someone has spun behind us. I'm not sure who that was, but someone in the pack behind us has spun, and I can't see a McLaren. Is that Oscar Piastri behind us? I see Lando Norris. So yes, Oscar Piastri has crashed out of the race, potentially for a podium. So this is massive, especially for the title as well. You see on board, we've got 2 POVs, our POV and the battle behind us. You see Verstappen is now trying to make a move on us on this final lap, trying to make a move down the inside into the first corner as we lock up massively into the first turn and try and give Verstappen some space. So there's definitely some space, but we stay ahead of Verstappen. But you see the group behind us having a massive squabble as well. You see the Gasly's got past Norris. You see Alonso's now fighting against Norris, the other title contender for this championship, as now he's lost out 2 positions. I see that now Verstappen's trying to get a run on us as Russell's pulling into the whole left hand side as well. So we try and defend from Verstappen, pull him all the way to the right side, and we try and give Verstappen the tight line as we try and get through the corner very nice and easily, as this fight is not going to end without an easy fight. These two are giving a run for my money right now. That was coming on for the last half of the lap of this race. We're still trying to cling on to this 3rd position away from Russell, away from Verstappen, and he's not going to give up as easily as I want them to be. I see Russell head of Verstappen slowly pulling away. So will it be our only fight for this last position on the podium as he slowly gets a run onto this final sector of the lap? We see he's going to use all of the battery he has left in that Mercedes, trying to make a move potentially as he doesn't make a move into the final corner. Oh, he's trying to have a smooth exit now, but we have a bit of a wobble on the exit now. It's just a run to the line. Who's going to get for the final position? It's me or Russell. Are we going to come to the line, across the line first, and we have secured our first Formula 1 podium, which is absolutely amazing. It was an absolute run for money from Russell and Verstappen. I'll give him that, as Leclerc wins Bahrain Grand Prix. But that has been, what a Grand Prix that was. It was definitely a fight against Russell and Verstappen, and was definitely a fun one. It definitely was not easy, but they gave me every single inch of track and they pushed me to my limits. And this podium, especially for the team, is definitely a remarkable one. So I'm really, really happy with that. As you see that Carlos Sainz finishes behind Leclerc, as myself, Russell, Verstappen, and then obviously Pierre Gasly gets P6. Definitely a deserved one. But you see that as McLaren had a nightmare of a weekend, as Lando Norris came across in 8th position, and Oscar Piastri, obviously with that crash, as we see now, finishing all the way down in P20. So absolute disaster class from the McLaren team. Obviously having the best car on the grid, fighting for the title. It's not been their weekend at all. And that means that puts them in definitely a low position in their championship. Obviously scoring less points than Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes in a bad position. But now, as we come to a close of this Grand Prix, again, it's been absolutely amazing one. Been really enjoyable. As you see the standings on the screen right now, it's been quite close so far. And now that Verstappen's got a bit of the lead, obviously with the McLaren disaster class they're having this weekend, it's opened a bit of a gap in the driver and constructor championships. That has been the Bahrain Grand Prix. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been an absolutely intense one, all the way for that first podium, which I'm really happy with. It was not easy at all, especially on a level 102 AI. It definitely put me in some work for myself, so I got a little sway, but it has been the Bahrain race, and I hope you guys have enjoyed, and there's going to be more to come. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.